If doubt did not exist in your mind, what would you already be? What moves would you have made? What mountains would you have climbed? And what empire would already be built under your name? By the time this speech ends, you will no longer beg for confidence. You will walk in it. This speech contains a mental trick so simple, it will feel like you already knew it. But if you knew it, you wouldn't be stuck in second guessing, would you? This will not be a feel-good message. This is fire, a command, a spiritual override for the mental noise that has robbed you of years. If you drift, if you half listen, if you skip past even one paragraph, the doubt will win. And not just for a day, for a decade, because doubt is patient. It waits, it multiplies, it survives in silence. But it cannot survive attention, and it cannot survive decision. So I ask you now, not with kindness, but with urgency, turn everything else off. Shut the world out. Because somewhere in these next moments lies the sentence that will not just inspire you, it will reprogram you. If you listen fully, deeply, like a man fighting for his future, this moment will split your life into 2 chapters. Before you learned this trick, and after. Now lean in, breathe deep, and prepare to shut it down for good. Most men never question the voice in their head. They obey it, trust it, react to it, but they never ask, where did it come from? You think it's yours because it speaks in your tone, your language, your memories, but it isn't. That voice was installed. It was installed when someone told you you're not ready, and you believed it. It was installed when you failed once and decided you were a failure. It was installed when you heard, don't be too ambitious, and shrunk your vision to fit in. That voice, the one that makes you pause before applying, hesitate before speaking, delay before building, it is not the voice of your highest self. It is the ghost of your past, trying to preserve its control. But here's the truth that most never hear. Doubt is not a warning. It is a recording. It is a line you've heard so many times from so many places that it became a loop, and you mistake the loop for logic. You hear it and think, I shouldn't do this. But what's actually happening is your subconscious is playing back the last time you hesitated and trying to protect you from pain. This is important to understand. Your subconscious mind is not designed to make you great. It is designed to keep you alive. And to the subconscious, different equals danger. So the moment you try to grow, to act, to speak boldly, to step into a higher identity, the system doesn't say, amazing, let's rise. It says, wait, this feels unfamiliar. Let's go back to what we know. It doesn't care if what we know is mediocrity, stagnation, failure. It cares that it's familiar, because the brain prefers the comfort of failure over the uncertainty of growth. So what does it do? It sends you doubt, not to destroy you, but to protect what it thinks you are, to keep you in alignment with your old self. But here's the good news. If doubt is just a loop, it can be broken. If it's just a voice, it can be silenced. And if it's just a story, you can write a new one. And so here's your first practice. Do it now, not later, not after the speech. Now, take out something to write with and answer this. What is the voice in my head actually saying to me? Write the exact sentences that echo in your moments of hesitation. The ones that show up before you build, speak, decide, or act. It might sound like, I always screw this up. What will they think? I'm not smart enough for this. What if I get it wrong again? Now, look at that list. And with full honesty, ask yourself, whose voice is this, really? Because it's not yours. You weren't born with it. It was programmed into you. And if something can be programmed, it can be reprogrammed. Let this next line land hard. I am not the voice in my head. I am the one who decides what it says next. Write that down. Speak it aloud. Say it again. I am not the voice in my head. I am the one who decides what it says next. That is power. That is liberation. Most men spend their lives reacting to an internal voice that was never theirs to begin with. You will not be one of them. Because the moment you name the voice, it begins to lose its authority. The moment you observe the loop, you stop obeying it. And the moment you install a new voice, one of decision, command, and clarity, the doubt begins to suffocate. You are no longer the man who listens without question. You are the one who chooses the script. And we are just getting started. Most men try to reason with doubt. They argue with it, try to silence it by thinking more thoughts. But that is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Doubt feeds on attention. And every second you spend thinking about it is a second you've already lost to it. The key is not to reason, the key is to interrupt. Like a needle scratching across a record, like a door slammed shut mid-sentence. You don't let the loop finish. You don't allow the doubt to wind up. You cut it off with power. Here's what I mean. Let's say your loop starts like this. I don't know if I'm ready for this. You don't let it go on. You don't say, well, maybe if I think more about it. You interrupt it. You say out loud, shut it down. Not whispered, not passive. Like a command barked at a dog you've trained to stop. This is not an affirmation. This is activation. A phrase you train into your system so thoroughly that when doubt shows its face, your response is instant. This is what the greats do, not just in words, but in action. Carnegie, he didn't entertain the voice of hesitation when building steel empires. He acted, then made it right. Lincoln, he led during war with every reason to second guess, but refused to delay. He decided, then stood tall. Edison, he didn't pause after 9,000 failed attempts. He acted again. Why? Because the loop of doubt had been overwritten by the command to build. You must train the same interrupt. Say it with me now, aloud. Shut it down. This is your mental override switch. You will use it every single time the loop begins to rise. But here's the mistake many men make. They only use it when things are falling apart. That's too late. You must install this before the moment comes. You must rehearse power, and that's what you will do now. Here's your practice. Take your most common doubtful thought. Write it down. For example, I always mess this up. Now next to it, write in bold, shut it down. Below that, write the replacement command. Not just a nicer thought, but a stronger one. One that asserts leadership over your mind. Example, I always mess this up. Shut it down. I execute. I finish. I win. Say it now. Say it with intensity. I execute. I finish. I win. You must treat this like a physical muscle. The more you repeat it, the faster it activates. The more emotional force you give it, the deeper it embeds into the subconscious. Because remember this, your mind does not obey truth. It obeys repetition with emotion. So, if you've repeated weakness, fear, delay for years, it's not enough to just be positive. You must out-rehearse the old loop. And every shut it down is a strike of the hammer. Every power phrase is a replacement brick. Every interruption is an installation of the new you. You don't have to believe it fully at first. You just have to say it with force until belief follows. That's how power is built, not by feeling ready, but by commanding the moment. Write this now. I do not negotiate with doubt. I interrupt it, I replace it, I command my mind. Say it again. I do not negotiate with doubt, I command my mind. That is your standard from this point forward. You are not here to argue with hesitation. You are here to dominate it. Ready to move forward? Doubt is loudest in an undisciplined mind. It waits in the quiet hours, in the unplanned moments, in the empty spaces between your intentions. And if your day has no direction, your mind will invent one. One that defaults to fear, hesitation, and the loop you said you wanted to leave behind. This is why the most powerful men in history, men like Carnegie, Edison, Ford, did not just act with purpose. They prepared with purpose. They pre-commanded their day, not after it began, before. They didn't let the world dictate their rhythm. They dictated the rhythm to the world. If you're serious about silencing doubt permanently, you must begin to treat your morning not as a time to wake up, but as a time to take command. Here is your new creed: if I do not direct the day, doubt will. So how do we take command? Ritual. Not complicated routines, simple, clear, repeatable rituals of dominance. Let's install 3 of them now. These are not optional. These are your daily fire drills, your mental weapons against hesitation. 1. Wake and declare. The moment you rise, before your feet even hit the floor, you must speak. You must command your state. Because your mind in the first few moments of waking is a sponge. It is wide open to suggestion. And if you do not feed it your commands, it will absorb commands from fear, fatigue, or the past. So the first thing you say when you wake is this: this is my day. I command my thoughts. I command my energy. I command my outcome. Then repeat your interrupt phrase: shut it down. This teaches your subconscious that you are the first voice it hears, not doubt, not the past, not the noise. This alone will begin to shift your emotional chemistry within 3 days. 2. Read your identity out loud. Most men read information in the morning, and you will read identity. Because you are not here to learn more. You are here to become more. So, write out, in detail, a paragraph of the man you are becoming. Not who you hope to be, who you are in the present tense. Example: I am a decisive man. I act with clarity. I speak with command. I build daily. I do not delay. I do not excuse. I create. I lead. I finish. Every morning, read this paragraph aloud. Not passively, not like it's homework. Read it like you're instructing an army. And that army is your mind, because it is. The subconscious listens to repeated identity. And if you say it long enough, it believes it. And when it believes it, it builds it. 3. Visualize execution. Close your eyes, see yourself. Not trying, not hoping, executing. Finishing is speaking with power, walking with certainty. See yourself refusing to flinch when pressure hits. Watch yourself act before doubt can speak. This is not fantasy. This is future memory. You are rehearsing power. Why? Because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. It only knows what is rehearsed with feeling. So give it the image you want it to copy. See it. Feel it. Then open your eyes and then walk into that identity. Now let me tell you what happens when you do these 3 rituals for 7 straight days. Your thoughts begin to shift before you consciously intervene. You begin to hear the voice of hesitation, and your automatic response becomes power. You begin to build what the weak call discipline, and what you now know as command. This is what the greats understood. The subconscious mind is not an obstacle to overcome. It is a weapon to be trained, but only if you feed it with structure, only if you show up daily with fire. Say this aloud now. I command my morning. I program my mind. I lead my life. Say it again, louder. I command my morning. I program my mind. I lead my life. And now write this. If I do not speak power, doubt will. That is your law now. That is the line in the sand. This is not about being positive. It's about being prepared. Because a man who commands his day does not need to negotiate with doubt. He has already decided. And from this moment forward, so have you. Next, we will confront the hidden enemy that doubt feeds on: identity confusion. There is a reason why no matter how many books you read, no matter how many plans you make, no matter how much motivation you absorb, the old doubt still comes back. It's because beneath the knowledge, beneath the intention, beneath the ambition, your identity has not changed. You see, your mind will always find a way to return to what it believes to be true about you. And if that truth is, I'm inconsistent. I always fall off. I'm not like them. I just need to figure it out. Then every effort you make, even if it's powerful in the moment, will eventually bend back toward the old pattern. Because behavior will never permanently outpace identity. This is why most life changes don't last, because they're done as the old self trying to become the new one. But the old self always protects itself. Always. Let me make this clear. Until you shift identity, doubt will always have a home. And identity is not changed by motivation. Identity is changed by decision, followed by ritual, reinforced by repetition. Let me show you how this works. Most men say, I want to be more disciplined, but what they're really saying is, I'm not disciplined, but I hope I can act like I am for long enough to change. That doesn't work, because the subconscious hears the underlying identity. It doesn't care about the goal, it cares about what you call yourself. So what should you say instead? You say, like, I am a disciplined man. And yes, the mind may resist at first. The evidence may scream otherwise. The old pattern may chuckle in the background. But this is where the transformation begins. Not when you believe it, when you decide it. That decision, spoken before it feels real, is the power. That declaration, made while the old identity still has a pulse, is the rebirth. Because what you say with consistency eventually becomes your internal law. You are not trying to become. You are installing identity, and behavior always follows identity. Let's go deeper. Think of how your mind behaves when you say, I'm the type of person who always finishes what he starts. Now compare that to, I hope I can stay consistent this time. Which one trains your nervous system to act? Which one silences doubt before it can take shape? Which one gives the subconscious a command to obey? The first one, because identity doesn't ask for permission, it gives instruction. So write this now. I am the type of person who is decisive. I am the type of person who finishes what he starts. I am the type of person who commands his mind. These are not affirmations. These are installs. Let me give you an exercise that rewired my own identity and that of every man who has risen above the mud of mediocrity. It's called the Identity Statement Practice. Each morning, write out 5, I am the type of person who... statements. Each one must align with the man you're becoming. Not fluffy traits, not nice ideas. Habits, characteristics. Direct instructions to your nervous system. Examples? I'm the type of person who acts immediately on vision. I'm the type of person who shows up even when he doesn't feel like it. I'm the type of person who speaks clearly, leads boldly, and decides quickly. I'm the type of person who silences doubt through motion. I'm the type of person who lives by ritual, not feeling. Do this for 21 days without missing. Speak them, read them, act them. You will feel resistance. That's normal. That's the dying breath of the old identity. But if you persist, if you install, if you repeat with emotion, the old voice loses power, because the mind cannot hold 2 conflicting identities forever. Eventually, one voice wins, and it will be the voice that is repeated with authority. Here's the truth you must never forget. The subconscious cannot argue. It only reflects. And it will always reflect who you say you are, not who you hope to be. So speak like the man you're becoming, act like him, walk like him, repeat his words, and the world will respond accordingly. Because reality does not bow to your desires. It bows to your identity. Now let's apply this directly, right now. Get out a piece of paper. At the top write, my identity is now. Then finish this sentence 10 times. I'm the type of person who... Write them with fire, with finality, with a commitment that makes the old you flinch. Then fold that paper. Keep it with you. Read it twice a day for the next 30 days. Because once your subconscious accepts this new script, you will no longer need motivation. You will simply act. Because action will now match identity. One final truth before we move on. You are not transforming because of new information. You are transforming because of a new decision, spoken, repeated, and lived. That's the only real change. Not what you know, what you now believe to be true about who you are. So decide boldly and speak daily. Repeat with power, because your doubt does not live in your abilities. It lives in your identity. Change that, and you change everything. Let us speak now of the battlefield where most men lose the war, not because they are weak, but because they are ruled by a master they were never taught to question: emotion. Emotion is not your enemy, but if left untrained, it becomes your captor. Emotion is meant to be felt, not followed. It is a guest, not a general. And yet most men wake up each day and hand the reins of their destiny to how they feel in that moment. If they feel inspired, they act. If they feel tired, they wait. If they feel uncertain, they hesitate. But understand this now. No man ever built an empire by waiting for agreement from his emotions. Let me make this clear. The most powerful men you admire, the Carnegies, the Edisons, the Lincolns, they did not feel like doing the work every day. They did not always feel certain. They did not always feel powerful, but they obeyed discipline, not feeling. They installed systems that ran with or without emotional fuel. They built rituals that outlasted motivation. They moved, even when nothing in them wanted to. Because here is the truth. Discipline is doing what is required, even when it is not rewarded immediately. It is acting in alignment with identity, regardless of mood. And when that becomes who you are, emotion no longer decides your movement. You do. Let me show you how this works with a simple reframe that few will ever teach you. Instead of asking each morning, "What do I feel like doing today?" you ask, "What would the disciplined version of me do right now?" You do not seek alignment with emotion. You seek alignment with identity. Because every time you obey discipline over feeling, you reinforce power. Every time you obey feeling over discipline, you feed doubt. One becomes your master, the other becomes your fuel. Let's go deeper with this. Say this aloud right now. I do not follow my feelings. I follow my decisions. Again, I am not ruled by how I feel. I am ruled by what I've chosen. Let that sink in and let it become your internal compass. Write it on your wall if you must. Because in the moments when your mind begins to bargain, when it tells you, just take the day off, it's okay to skip today, you deserve to rest, you must return to this one truth. Discipline is the voice of the man I am becoming. Emotion is the echo of the man I'm leaving behind. Now let's make this practical. Here are 3 exercises to begin training discipline over emotion. Today. 1. The cold commitment. Choose one thing every day that is mildly uncomfortable. A cold shower, a fasted walk, waking 30 minutes earlier. Then do it before your mind has a chance to vote. Why? Because every time you act before emotion can intervene, you strengthen your command center. You are practicing obedience to decision, not feeling. That is mental weightlifting.